Hey there, it's Leona. Welcome to Zen Mindfulness Shodo. Today we are going to practice Shodo meditation while focusing on a Katakana character. So, let's begin our beautiful journey together. When you write a character, imagine a square about the size of the character that you are going to write like this. First I'm going to write it. Then I'm going to explain the points and tips for writing the character beautifully in detail. Begin the first stroke slightly below the center point of the top left square. When you start, place your brush at an angle of about 30 to 45 degrees. Once the brush is on the paper, keep its position fixed and gently press the brush towards the tip to stabilize it. After stabilize the brush, move it to the right, gradually ascending with a slight downward curve. This movement should continue until the middle vertical line appears to be in the middle of the stroke. For the ending point, just like the starting point, keep the brush's position on the paper fixed and gently press the brush towards the tip at that spot. This technique helps create a relatively smooth finish for the stroke. The second stroke starts from the middle of the first stroke. Since the first stroke was extended to the right until its middle vertical line was in the middle, the starting point of the second stroke will be roughly aligned with the middle vertical line, directly below the first stroke. Again, lightly pause at the starting point, gently press the brush towards the tip to secure it, and then move the brush straight down along the middle vertical line until the middle horizontal line appears to be in the middle of this stroke. The length of the part above the middle horizontal line and the part below it should look approximately equal. For the ending point, you can either gently press towards the tip for a smooth shape, or you can lift the brush off the paper immediately after moving it down. This part is somewhat flexible because the third stroke will cover it. The third stroke begins a bit to the left of the first stroke's starting point and at about the same height as the second stroke's ending point. Similar to the first stroke's starting point, place your brush at about a 45-degree angle, then gently press the brush towards the tip to secure it. Now, unlike the first stroke, this stroke will have a slight upward curve. Move the brush to the right while curving upwards, connecting with the second stroke's ending point midway. The left part of this stroke should be parallel to the upward angle of the first stroke. After connecting with the second stroke's ending point, don't continue moving strictly upwards to the right. Instead, while still curving upwards, the stroke should gently descend a little. However, it shouldn't completely go down to the right. The lower part of this stroke should end up roughly parallel to the middle horizontal line, appearing straight. As you move to the right, it's ideal if this line becomes just a little thicker, as it adds stability to the character. As for where to end this stroke, you should aim for the point where the central vertical line, or the second stroke, appears to be in the middle of the character. Alternatively, ensure that the space to the left of the starting point and the space to the right of the ending point appear to be roughly equal in width. For the ending point, similar to the first stroke's ending point, keep the brush's position on the paper fixed and gently press the brush towards the tip. This will make the end of this stroke smooth. For the third stroke, it makes the overall balance of the character easier to achieve if you write it, so that the length on the right side of the middle vertical line is just slightly longer than the length on the left side. One key point for writing this character is the space between the first and third strokes. For example, if the second stroke is too short relative to the length of the first and third strokes, this character can look short and wide. Conversely, if the second stroke is too long. It will have a different appearance. Personally, I think a length that's neither too short nor too long, somewhere in between, is appropriate. But this is a matter of personal aesthetic. If you prefer a flatter, wider shape of this character, you can write it that way. If you prefer this character looking tall with a longer second stroke, you can practice writing it in that style. Another important point, as mentioned earlier, is when the first and third strokes, especially their left parts, are not parallel. For example, if the upward angle of the third stroke is too steep compared to the first stroke, they won't appear parallel. Similarly, if the third stroke dips down overall compared to the first stroke, it also won't be parallel. If this character looks like this, it can appear unbalanced. Therefore, try to write the third stroke so it's parallel to the upward angle of the first stroke. After connecting with the second stroke, you can slightly soften the angle. However, the third stroke shouldn't go downwards to the right. The ending point of the third stroke should be slightly higher than its starting point. You'll need to find the angle that makes the entire character look balanced. How about trying to practice keeping these points and tips in mind? If you're interested, you can buy this on Amazon. See the link in the description. Alright, let's start practicing together. Before you start writing, take a deep breath and clear your mind. Slowly breathe in as much air as you can through your nose, and exhale all the negative emotions that you've been holding until this moment through your mouth. When you are mentally ready to write, you can start writing. Check the starting point, turning point, end point, the angle of the stroke, and the direction of the curve. After that, without hesitation, aim for the end point and move the brush smoothly. Try to write slower than you normally write, putting your heart and soul into each stroke. However, if you move the brush too slowly, the ink will bleed and the lines will become thicker in areas where you don't want them to be thicker. And if you move the brush too quickly, the ink will fade and the lines will become thinner in areas you don't want them to be thinner, or the ink will disappear midway through, making the strokes shorter than you want them to be. So concentrate on finding the right speed. Once you've finished writing the character, look at the character as a whole and think about what changes you should make next in order to make it look even more beautiful. Of course, you don't have to take all the tips and points that I've told you and copy my way of writing the character. Trust your own sense of beauty and adjust accordingly. It's important that you are satisfied with the shapes of the characters you write. So please use my tips and points as ideas and hints for adjusting the shape of the character to your sense of beauty. Of course, you can't change the shape so much that it no longer looks like a character. If you notice that you are thinking about something else while writing, immediately refocus on what you are writing. By repeating this exercise, you will be able to notice when your attention starts to turn to something unrelated to your current action, and gradually improve your concentration and self-control. You can also build your patience with this practice. So, let's practice together. It's just natural that we are unable to create perfectly satisfying strokes every time. Instead of blaming yourself for not being able to make strokes that you want, try praising yourself for taking on difficult challenges. On this channel, I not only share tips and points for writing Japanese characters beautifully with a brush and a pen in both English and Japanese, but also practice Zen Mindfulness Shodo meditation that focuses all of our attention on the present moment. If you thought that the information was useful and you want to learn tips and points for writing other characters neatly as well, or if you want to keep practicing Zen Mindfulness Shodo meditation with me, please subscribe to my channel and click the bell mark so you get a notification as soon as I upload a new video. You can find videos of other characters from the playlist. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button. If you have any questions or comments, please write them in the comments section. Alright, let's learn and practice together again in my next video. Thank you for watching.